Hello guys, can everybody hear me? Welcome everyone. Alright, looks like my audio is good, my video is good. Looks like it's all behaving the way it should. Let's see how many people we got today. We all got few people watching. Welcome everyone, whoever watching. Just put hello or hi on the chat for me, if you guys, so I know who is watching. All right, this is the third day on this Hyundai Terracan. We're still dealing with the same issue with the misfire, right? A little bit of background. We done ignition testing and all that at first, and then we moved on to the fuel injector testing and all that other day, and we thought we had it, but it's not. We still got the issue. I did go ahead and do all that injector testing again to 100% verify it is the case. It's not the case. Injector is not our problem, guys. Okay, just put hello in the chat so I know how many people are watching, if I need to repeat everything again or not. So anyway, all right, so basically the Hyundai Terracan we're dealing with V6, right? Number 6 cylinder misfire issue. So the other day what we did here was I'll show you quickly on the board what we did other day, right? So the other day we had the injector testing here. We did injector leak down test or blockage test, flow test, whatever you want to call it, right? The result is right there the day. So we suspected that we may have an issue with number 6 cylinder, which was only dropping to 40 or 38 psi compared to other cylinders. So I went ahead and did all of the testing again, and all of them, including number 6, is dropping to 32 psi. Okay, so all of them are dropping to 32 psi. So there's nothing wrong with the flow testing here. So where we did go wrong, and this could be a tip in the future for you guys, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So where we did go wrong here is this. So this is the meter I use, made by Spark Tech. This is just a Chinese tool, right? I just bought it off online, whatever. If you ever see a tool like this, right, just be very, very careful when you're doing a injector balance testing with this one. So basically, after I set everything up, obviously I had to hit enter to activate the injectors. So where I went wrong was I wasn't hitting it long enough. So if you only hit it gently like that, it doesn't do it. So it's supposed to send 250 milliseconds of injector pulse, but when you press it very, very gently, it was only sending, I don't know what the numbers were, very, very little millisecond of injection pulse with this device. So what you have to do is you have to hold it a little bit longer, not too long, otherwise you're going to send 2 or 3 pulses, but just a little bit longer, and when you hear 2 beeps, you know your test is accurate. But if you only hear 1 beep, the machine will make a beep noise. That's gonna send you only a small millisecond of injection pulse. So very, very careful, guys. So I did all that other day, everything's sweet. Number 6 cylinder, I couldn't fault it at all. So not only that, I even went into the cylinder, took the spark plug off, right? And I had a look in the cylinder. And then I used the tool to activate the injectors, and I could see, because first initially we were suspecting it's a blocked injector, right? That's what our fuel trim was showing on the scan tool as well. It was very, very positive numbers on the bank too. So I used the tool, went into the hull, had a good look visually, and I could see a good spray of fuel coming out. I didn't know the pattern, spray pattern, none of that, but compared to the other cylinder, the good cylinders, it looked like it was getting enough fuel, and even on the board, 32 psi was dropping on the floor testing, looked like it had enough volume of fuel not to misfire. So that's why I moved away from that test. I went in testing other stuff in the car to figure out what the misfire was. Okay, so careful with a tool like this when you're doing the injector flow balance testing. Okay, let me just check my chat. Not much happening today, that's fine. I just want to quickly go through this video. So I just wanted to give you a complete assessment on what's going on the video. I hope someone could just chime in my chat and let me know that my audio is good and everything, because right now I really don't know what it sounds like on the other end, but in my end it looks everything good, equipment wise, everything. All right, so after that, what else I did here is I'll have to present it to you. So basically on the number 6 cylinder, I'll show you exactly what I did, and then you probably will have an idea what I'm talking about. So after that, I went to the cylinder, right? I put a pressure transducer. That's what I did. So I got a picture here. I didn't save all of it, but this is the number 6 cylinder. Okay, number 6 cylinder. So what we got here is we got a cam sensor at the top. This is just my cam sensor, sorry, crank sensor, right? Doesn't really matter in this case. And this is the blue trace is my ignition turn on signal from the ECU on that number 6. This is a waste spark system. So two spark plug will be triggered from one coil, right? So this is what we're dealing with here. So, and then my green trace here is also just my pickup tool for my spark plug lead, right? Pickup for the spark plug, and this is my in-cylinder pressure transducer. Okay. Let me just quickly erase that. Okay, so this is my cylinder pressure, let's call it. So I use the in-cylinder pressure transducer, which is picoscope I'm using, WPS 500, right? So my compression is good. We did verify other day. I verified it again. The compression is good. This is while the car is running, and you can see it's making about 82, 85, 90 psi, which is good for a running engine, right? When it's not running, it was making over 200 psi of compression pressure. So we know the compression is good, right? So what I have a problem here is, okay, I'll just get rid all of it quickly. So we can fresh start here. Okay. So my issue here is the ignition turn on. Okay, so this is where the problem lies, guys. So my ignition turn on signal, you can see it's about roughly about what do you got here on a blue channel? So it was around, if I'm not mistaken, around 7 volt on a signal from the ECU to turn on the coil. So every time you see that 7 volt signal like that, square wave, the spark plug, the coil fires, and you can see that's just on my pickup, on my high tension lead, right? You can see right there. So every time there's a 7 volt signal coming from the ECU, my spark plug fires. Okay. Now the issue here is my number 6. This is my number 6 cylinder, right? The compression you're seeing is my number 6 cylinder. Okay, here's my number 6 again. So from here to here we got 1 cycle of the engine, right? 2 revolution. So this is my I got the partitions here. So this is my number 6, this is my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back to 6. So this is my firing order. But at number 6 I got no turn on signal here. It's supposed to have a turn on signal for my ignition coil, right? It's not there. So that is our issue here. Okay, if you guys followed it or not. So they're supposed to have a turn on signal, but there is no signal, and here too it's missing, you can see, right? On this one again, there's missing my turn on signal. The square wave 7 volt signal is missing from there. So this is the issue. That's why my coil is never firing on that number 6 cylinder. Okay, so that's what's happening. Now because the same coil fires number 6 and number 3 at the same time, right? It's a waste spark system, but we only had 1 cylinder misfire. So number 6, partner cylinder for number 6 is number 3. So number 6 and number 3 fires at the same time, right? But you can see when my number 3 is on peak compression, so 6, 1, 2, 3. So this is my peak compression right here. You'll see on number 3. You can see I got a turn on signal, 7 volts. So the spark is happening. If you can see that green trace, the spark is happening for number 3. But it's not firing my number 6 cylinder here, and here you can see it's missing. So this is the problem we have in this car. Okay, that's why the car is misfiring on number 6 at all time. All right. Now you can see on the turn on signal, so let's say from here to here is my 720 degree, right? And in between that you can see I got 1, 2, 3 turn on signal. I do not know why there is 3 turn on signal, right? Because you only need 2 times that coil to fire for this engine to work. 1 for number 6 compression and 1 for number 3 compression, right? Which we have for number 3 here. Now this is a waste and this is a waste. Only this one is actually, you know, doing something for this number 3. Okay, so this is the problem we're having. And I did the same compression, in-cylinder compression pressure testing with the same exact inputs for my turn-on signal and everything on other good cylinders, right? And other ones were working just fine. So every time the compression goes on top dead center right here, I had a turn-on signal for the coil for that particular cylinder. So every other cylinders are working. The only thing that was a little bit different here, now again I can't explain why is this happening here. So only thing I had a little bit difference here, I'll just wipe this off the screen real quick. So the only difference was the because there's 3 coil here. Okay, I'll just show you on the board quickly. All right, let me just get rid of this real quick. So that turn on signal, there was 3 we saw at different interval, whatever. Let's say from here to here is my 720 degree full revolution to revolution, right? So we saw on number 6 we had 3 turn on signal, 7-volt turn on signal, right? So number 6 meaning we got number 6 and number 3 also firing with the same coil, waste spark system. And then let's go to number which one was it? Number 4. So number 4 coil also fires 1. Okay, cylinder number 1 as well. So number 4 and number 1's firing 1 coil. So on the number 4 and number 1, it also had that 7-volt turn on signal, and I saw 3 of those at obviously different timing interval wherever they need to fire the coil, right? But I'm just giving you an example here what I saw. So we had number 4 and number 1. So this is my coil number 3, coil 3. This is my coil 2, and this is my coil 1. But on coil 1, which is supposed to fire my number 2, and then it also fires number 5. Okay, so 1 and 4, 2 and 5, and 3 and 6. So 3 coils fire all these cylinders. But on number 1, what I saw was I had 4. Okay, 4 turn on signal for my coil from the ECU. So there is a difference here between 3 coil turn on signal here, but I cannot explain why is that like that. So this is what I saw, but number 2 coil was spot on the top dead center. It was firing. Number 1 coil, the first coil, front of the engine, was firing at the right timing where the compression is. But my number 3rd coil, so from the front, 1, 2, 3, the 3rd coil, which is number 6 hull, also fires my number 3, also had 3 turn on signal like the coil number 2, but it was never firing my coil number 6, but it was firing my number 3 like I showed you on the board here. Like I showed you on the screen, sorry. So this is what I have. You can clearly see, right? That turn on is missing right there where my number 6 cylinder is at top dead center. Okay? So this is the issue I'm having with the car. Okay, I'll let you just look at that real quick. I'm missing a turn on signal for number 6. Right here you can see. Okay, so I do not know. Looks like it's a computer problem. Looks like it's a ECU, some kind of issue with the ECU. I do not know. Okay, so what I've done is I'll show you a wiring diagram real quick. So if you go to the wiring diagram, right, and we get to that coil. So this is my coil, all 3 coils here. So the problem we're having is the 3rd coil, right? Not firing properly, okay? Well, it fires on one cylinder but doesn't fire on the other cylinder, okay? So let me just snip that real quick so I can explain to you here. So my 3 coil here, let me zoom that right in. Okay. So what I've done is I snipped that wire. So there's 3 wires coming from the computer, you can see. The red one for my number 3, the blue one for my number 2, and the black with the yellow for my number 1. So what I've done is I cut this wire, right? I cut this wire and I bridged the wire from there going towards there. So I bridged that 2 wires. So the turn on signal from my number 1 coil is now also firing number 3 coil. And the reason I did that is because all the turn on signal for number 1 was actually lining up to fire my number 3 coil, okay? I don't know, it's a coincidence or I don't know how, but that's exactly what I did. And I'll show you real quick here what I'm talking about. All right, I put that in there. I'll zoom that right into that picture there. So I should have saved it, but obviously I didn't. So I'll try my best to show you as much as I can here. Okay, so on the board there, just my printout. Hopefully you guys can see it clearly. This is for my number 4, yeah, my number 4 and number 1 coil, okay, so this is the first coil in that wiring diagram, which is my black wire, as you can see on the wiring diagram, right? So look at the turn on signal on this one. From here to here is my 720 degree. So I got 4 turn on signal here. Hang on, sorry, this is not the right, but this is for my number 2 coil, I'm sorry. So anyway, I'll show you anyway number 2 coil. See how it's only got 1, 2, and 3 turn on signal, the whole cycle, like the number 3 coil. Okay, so this is not the one I wanted to show you. I'll quickly go and grab the other one that I actually wanted to show it to you. Okay, this is the one I wanted to show it to you. I don't know how good that's gonna look, but I'll try my best, guys. I will try my best to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that, right? So on this picture, I've shaped it from my scope. This is my first coil on the lot, so that is number 2 cylinder. That also fires 2 and 5. Okay, this is coil first coil. okay, but it's on number 2 cylinder, okay. So you can see here my in-cylinder pressure transducer, also my cylinder pressure transducer right here. So from here to here I got 720 degree. Now you can see the turn on signal. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 turn on signal on that first coil for some reason. The others only had 3. And you can see my in-cylinder pressure transducer is on number 2 cylinder, right? The pressure is going up, and you can see a turn on signal right there for the spark, right at the top dead center. Then if you count the firing order here, so this is going to be, I'll just put it down here. Firing order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, back to 1, right? So you can see here, number 2 just fired. That's my number 3, right? Number 4, number 5, which we have a partner cylinder for that cylinder, number 2 and number 5 for that coil, partner cylinders. And then 6 and back to, sorry, hang on. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1 and back to 2. And you can see it's firing for number 2 and number 5, no problem. Not only that, it's also firing this cylinder and this cylinder as well. That extra firing signal, I do not know, is it whether for the tacho, for the dash, for some reason it's got extra 7 volts, exact same pattern as the ignition turn-ons, you know, signal. So if you follow me here, so number 2 just fired, number 1 fires, right? Number 2 fires, sorry, hang on. Number 2 fired, number 3 fired, 4, 5, 6, back to 1 and back 1 and back to 2, right? So number 2 is for that cylinder, we know we need that. Number 5 turn on is also for that partner cylinder on that same coil. But this extra 2 is lining up with, if you follow me, number 3. So this extra turn on signal is lining up with number 3 top dead center. And then also this extra one after the number 5 fires on that coil is lining up with top dead center number 6. So this is the problem cylinder we have, the problem coil, number 3 and number 6, like I said here, number 3 and number 6 is the problem cylinder, we know that. So number 6 is not getting triggered, for coil is not triggered. So all I did is I snipped that wire and I joined that wire to the number 2 or first coil in that lot on that trigger wire. Now the same trigger wire is firing my number 2, 5. Not only that, it's also firing my number 3 and number 6, and no more misfire in this car after that. I hope you following me right here. Sorry I don't have the good picture, but this is what I've figured, okay? All right, I got a chat from Nathan Little. Hello Nathan, how are you? Cam and crank signal or ECU fault? I don't know at this stage, okay? So cam and crank looks good. That I was gonna show you in a minute. Cam and crank looks good, however, there's a but, okay? I'll have to explain to you after I get the cam and crank signal. The ECU fault looks like it could be an ECU problem. There is no fault code in the engine computer, if that's what you're asking, Nathan, right? Anyway, let's keep going here. So this is what I figured, guys, with this one. Now, I'll show you exactly where that is and what I did. Okay, right in here, as you can see, there's a plug with all the wires for the coil, so the plug sort of goes that way, comes around, and then it plugs into my 3 coils right there, right? First I thought maybe we have the wiring, you know, connected wrong, so instead of having this connection on the 6 coil, maybe someone made a mistake. So I even did that. I swapped the connectors. Basically I took the wiring off and put that number 6 into my number 2 and number 2 to the 6, and that didn't fix it. That created more for misfiring on other cylinders as well. Also you can see on the plug all my wiring matches as the wiring diagram as well, so I know I got the connectors connected right. So that's where I snipped my red wire, which is for my number 6 turn on going into the coil, and then I just simply bridged the number 2 coil, which is my black wire, bridged it back into that connector on that red wire. So basically I got the signal from the black wire back to my red wire. So the same 1 turn on wire from the ECU is now controlling my 2 coils, and it works. Okay, this is what I've done in the car. Okay, I'll quickly show you on the board. Like I just explained earlier, that's all I did. I snipped that wire right here. All I did is I connect that same trigger wire into that and fed that into this. So the 1 control from the ECU is now controlling my 2 coils and no more misfire. Okay, that's what we've done. Now I don't know if it's an ECU problem. Looks like it's an ECU problem because I don't see a reason why it do that. But before that, one more thing I want to do here today is I want to quickly show you the cam and crank correlation in this car. Okay. All right. I don't think I have many people watching today. That's fine. I just wanted to give you everything on this video. I didn't want to just give you the false information. Okay, so I'm taking my time to make this video for you guys. Okay, I don't have any comments coming in. That's fine. It's getting pretty late, so anyway, so I'm gonna quickly show you my cam and crank signal here. Okay, let me just set up my scope and whatnot. All right. So basically on this car we got 2 wiring coming from the timing case, connects to that plug there, and you can see on both the plug I got 3 wires and I got 3 wires on that as well, if you can see properly or not, but 3 wires and 3 wires. And these are Hall effect type sensor. 3-wire sensor, Hall effect, very easy. You don't need a wiring diagram to know what signals you're going to get. This is going to be a square wave signal. Okay, that's all you're going to have. So I'll just show you quickly on the board. Just trying to cover the basic at the same time. All right, because I like to keep everyone informed of everything that I do here. All right, I'll get rid of that real quick. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna get the cam and crank signal from that 2 connectors I just showed you now. So basically, very simple. You don't need a wiring diagram to do this simple, cam and crank signal test, obviously, right? Unless there's an issue with the wiring and whatnot, then you're gonna need a wiring diagram to figure out where it goes and whatnot. But just to simply get a signal from the cam and crank sensor, it's very simple. Okay, so crank signal or crank signal, doesn't matter. There are different types of sensors. It could be Hall effect, it could be VRS type, there's few different types of sensors, but we're only going to talk about today Hall effect. So it's called Hall effect type sensor, they're gonna make square wave 0, 5 most of the time. Sometimes it could be 0, 12, something like that. You're gonna see a square wave pattern on the scope, usually about 5 volt signal, 50 signal. Sometimes it could be 12 volt. Sometimes it could be some other voltage too. Doesn't matter. You know, it's gonna have a square wave pattern. So you're gonna have 3 wires. We saw 3 wires, right? So 3 wires, one going to be, you know, one going to be earth, which is ground, one going to be 5 volt, or sometimes different voltage. Doesn't matter. It could be 8 volts, it could be 12 volt. It doesn't matter. Some kind of power supply. Okay, it's also be referred as reference voltage. Okay, reference voltage. And then you're gonna have a bias voltage. Sometimes bias voltage 5 volt, sometimes nothing. Okay, sometimes 0. Okay, this is what you're gonna see. All you're gonna do is we're gonna tap into my bias, my signal or bias wire. Okay, tap into it, and we're gonna get the signal. And it's same for both the sensor on this car. Cam and crank, they're both same. So basically, when you unplug the connector, you're gonna see, you know, you're going to see power, like I said, you're going to see earth, and they're going to be a signal wire. That's it. So most of the time, this is not always true, most of the time you're going to see 5 volt, obviously earth, which is your 0 volt, let's say, 5, 0, and signal, sometimes you'll have a 5 volt bias, sometimes you'll have no bias. Okay, this is how it's going to work. All right, let's go and do some testing on that cam and crank, and then we go from there. All right, I get my screen up for my scope. Excuse me. I'll just move that camera a little bit towards that end so you can see everything I'm doing. Okay, so let's go and close that. Actually, I'll just leave that there. Let's open my scope. You know, let's just go 12, 20 volts, doesn't matter. 20 volts, DC. Okay, turn on my second channel as well, which is already on. I'm just going to drag it down. Okay, all right. Like I showed you on the board, it's very, very simple, guys. You don't need wiring diagram to do just a quick signal check. Okay, that saves a lot of time when you're trying to diagnose cars, right? So it's best to learn all these fundamentals. All right, all I'm going to do is I'm going to connect my negative to my battery negative for the scope light, for the signal, and I'm going to connect on one of this wire. Now, I don't know which wire is got my signal, but we don't care. We can just simply turn the key on and we can, you know, put the back probe the scope and we'll find that right wire. No problem whatsoever. Okay, I'm just going to try my first wire at the top. I don't care what wire it is. We'll figure it out if it's not right. Okay, let's get my second channel, which is going to be for my cam or crank. At this stage, I don't know which one's cam and which one's crank connector here, but doesn't matter because we're not really focusing on that. We just want to get both signal on the screen. That's what we're doing. So for the cam and crank signal, I'll just try that middle wire in there. And I'm going to go and start the car, and you will see some kind of signal on the scope, right? Okay, as you can see on the screen, we're already up. We got the cam and crank. I do not care which one's what. I'm simply gonna get some signal and I'll show you. Signals looks clean. There's nothing I can see that could be a problem, okay? Now, however, what I do want to show you guys, I'll just pause that, capture that, and I'll turn the car off real quick. Okay, as you guys following me here, so basically on the board, I'll just zoom it right in a little bit and I'll kind of show you the pattern here, what's happening, right? So I'll just take a snip shot of that so I can explain it to you. Okay, this is the snapshot from the scan tool, and you can see we got the top one is my crank sensor, I believe, and it does not change. It's continuous, same pattern, same voltage level, everything the whole time. It just continues on the same pattern. The bottom one, I think it's my cam, right? The bottom one has a little bit of a difference here. So let's start from the rising edge of this signal there. So you can count there. So the big one, small one, small one, small one, then the big one, right? So right here. So then pattern repeats itself again. So small one, gap, small one, gap, small one, and then big one, and the pattern starts again. If you look up here, if you kind of follow that line, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 6 pattern there, 6 square wave, and on every 6 of those square wave, the ignition coil fires, okay? And this is what the pattern looks like. Anyway, and there is absolutely no reason we need to suspect our cam and crank sensor could be at fault, because the pattern looks absolutely fine. There's no dropouts. It's continuously repeating itself, so I don't see any issue here with the pattern, right? However, what I want to do here quickly is I want to show you cam and crank correlation. So let's kind of take it around this area. So I'll just zoom it right in that area where the bigger square wave is. And then pattern repeats itself, right? So let me get that much. And then I'll just put a cursor here. So let's say from here to here is my 720 degree. Right, let me get that ruler up, 6 partitions. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we got almost 7 not 7, sorry, we got 6 cylinder, right, 720 degree. So what I did is I wanted to just check the correlation of the cam and cranks to see if my timing belt is right or not. So what I found, this is the only one I found on the whole internet. So I don't know, I searched everywhere on the internet, I cannot find it, okay? This is the only cam and crank signal I can find. So basically I'll just show you what so you guys can look up, and I found a lot of good information regarding cam and crank known good signal on this. So you got to go to rotkey.com, as you can see at the top, right? rotkey.com, that's where you want to go. I don't know where this website belongs to, where from, I don't know. All you do is here, type in the car you need, there's all sorts of car here. Go Hyundai, right? Let's refresh that, and then we got Terracan, and you can see all kind of different, all different type of cars here. You can see. Hang on, goes Terracan, which is right here, 2001 to 2006, and then it will tell you what engine code, 3.5. This is exactly the same engine we got here, and it will give you that camshaft and crankshaft correlation. Whoever uploaded it, thank you so much, right? It also gives you the detail of the car, what car they done it. The firing order is exactly same, 1 2 3 4 5 right here on that question mark, and you can see the type of engine they did the test on, okay? This is a good timing, it says, right? And you can see, I'll just click that and I'll kind of zoom it in here, and you can see this, we got the camshaft and crankshaft, you know, upside down, so not upside down, so below the camshaft, so we might fix that on the scope. So what I'm talking about is he's got this up there and this one down here. This is how he's got it, okay? So I'll just bring it close to each other. Now, an hour waveform, see the rising edge, or let's say the falling edge of my bigger square wave on the camshaft, I believe, is almost very close, to my square wave on the crankshaft position, right? So let's go back there, and you can see on this one the falling edge of that long square wave is kind of like in the middle of two square wave on the crankshaft signal. So we can say safely it's about halfway, right? So same exact pattern, 3 small square wave and the 1 large square wave on the camshaft, and the crankshaft is just continuous square wave, same pattern, same voltage level, right? See how it's right in the middle, the crankshaft signal is. Let's go back to our capture, and it's not, right? Go back to that again. So the falling edge of the bigger square wave, and we got a smaller gap, and then we got a smaller square wave, and they got a bigger gap. So let's find this bigger gap between after the first smaller waveform. See the bigger gap here, right? This is straight in the middle, almost in the middle, right? Let's go back to ours. So we're talking about the bigger square wave, smaller gap, small square wave, and this bigger gap. This is nowhere near the middle in our capture, right? So let's measure that. So let's go from, let's say about, let's put that about in the middle here somewhere. So the middle of that has to be in the middle of that upper red channel square wave. So we are about 28 degree, as you can see at the top here, 28 degree off from a known good. So now, is that a problem? I do not know. Is that a problem? I do not know. If the timing has jumped, it should affect all my cylinders. Why just one? Okay, that doesn't make sense. Maybe there is a timing issue, 28 degree I can see, or maybe just the waveform I got here on the internet is not correct, because I can only find one. I looked on the Pico library, I looked on the internet, I cannot find it, okay? So this is the only one I found. Maybe this is bad, or our car, the suspect car, the problem car here, also has a timing issue. So it's a timing belt, so probably I'll recommend customer to replace the timing belt, or at least check the timing as well. And I believe the ECU has a problem that's not firing my number 6 coil. Now, I don't have a 100% answer. I don't know how they designed it, so I'm just going to go that route. So this is my conclusion for this vehicle. Okay, it's 28 degree. You can clearly see from the known good, it's a 28 degree out compared to the known good. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's my conclusion on this car. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. If anyone has a good known waveform for this vehicle, cam and crank correlation, please send it to me. Please let me know. If someone has dealt with a similar issue on a Hyundai Terracan with the V6 engine, you know, with the number 6 coil not firing, or they had a common issue with the engine computer, just let me know. That would be very helpful. But yeah, so that's my conclusion. This is why the number 6 is misfiring. Hope you guys enjoyed that and learned something from it. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a good night, guys.